There are documents, I'm not making anything up. These are all government documents, and the good thing is we recreate and reprint them in their entirety for you to read. You'll read what I have to say in front of every document, and then if you so desire, you can read the document yourself and draw your own conclusions in reading them. They're very disturbing. Let me grab my glasses. As I said, Dick and I are already on to the next book, so I really have to sometimes review a little, because you move ahead and you don't always remember. But a few of the documents that I found, all of them I found pretty much disturbing, but a few of them that really jump out at me. Well, let me go to this first. You'll notice in the book that I dedicated this book to Congressman Ron Paul, the only federal elected official who will stand up for America on the congressional floor. And I did that because of what Congressman Paul did as a result of WikiLeaks. We had all these people that want to be our next president. Go down the list: Newt Gingrich, Sarah Palin, the list on and on, up and down, even the Democrats, stating that Julian Assange should be charged with treason, right? We all heard that? Well, are these people really that stupid? Apparently they are. I only went to high school, but even I know, don't you have to be a citizen of the country to be charged with treason? He's an Australian, and I think his website's out of Switzerland or something like that. But he is Australian. You can't charge an Australian with treason. And these people want to be our next president, and they don't know that. I mean, you tell me. But anyway, I felt the most important thing that Congressman Paul said with his courage on the floor that day, first of all, he said, WikiLeaks hasn't killed anybody yet. How many people have died as a result of the manipulated information and the lies before the Iraq War? When we were told all this BS about what Saddam had and didn't have and all that. And I got news for you. They knew he had no weapons of mass destruction. You want to know how I know that? No, you want to know how I know that? Being military? If he had them, we would have never gone in the way we did. He could have wiped out literally our army. We're going to march right in there, and if he's got a weapon of mass destruction, he's going to turn it loose. I would. And our army would have suffered unbelievable casualties. I can't believe for a moment that the leaders of the military would do that. If he had those weapons, they would have attacked in a completely different manner.
Airstrike, right?
Very much so.
Yeah.
You know, they would have attacked in a completely different manner than that. So they knew that there was none of this. That was the lies. The other thing that Ron Paul said, which I think is even more important, when he said that in supposedly a free country, when the truth equals free, the truth, telling the truth is considered treason.
Wow.
Well, we're hurting then. When the truth becomes treason in a free country, which apparently it has here now, we're in bad shape.
Yep.
Bad shape. When telling the truth, so I guess lying's better? Is that what they're then saying? That lying is what we ought to do? So then moving on to some of the documents that I found very interesting. We divide the book into 5 parts. Why you need to, or 6 parts, why you need to read this book, the introduction, why I tell you should. Part 1, our scandalous post-war history. Part 2, government, military, and corporate secrets. Part 3, shady White Houses. Part 4, we devote the entire part to 9/11. And now these are documents now. It's not Jesse Ventura speculating. Part 5, the war on terror. A few of the documents I found exceptionally interesting. Document number 1, the CIA's Secret Assassination Manual. You'll get to read it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, assassination is just a fancy word for first-degree murder with a political tint to it. But it is a pre-planned, premeditated first-degree murder. Who gives us that power? To arbitrarily go out in the world and put someone to death with no trial, no nothing, and assassinate them? That's the American way? That's what we stand for just because someone may not agree with us politically? I bet they'd love to assassinate Hugo Chavez right now. You know, you can bet he's on a short list if this stuff's true. Maybe I am now. You know? Then we move forward to the next group, and here's one. Documents 24 and 25, emergency detention camps and civilian inmate labor program.
Whoa.
What are they talking about here? The last detention camps that we had were when we stuck Japanese Americans in them in World War II simply because they were Japanese and we happened to go to war with Japan. And we ended up having to pay a lot of retribution, I think, when that was all over, to my best knowledge. But now, ladies and gentlemen, they're building them for you and me. I don't know. Why would they? My TV show last fall, we did the police state. And that one was the only one that apparently hit the nerve, because it was pulled after one airing and now they won't even acknowledge we did it. So I'm being censored also now, because they went to Time AOL way above True TV and went to the big shots, the government did. Why? I went to Washington with the Homeland Security bill that had in it that FEMA was to build no less than 6 internment camps. And I went to the sponsor of the bill who didn't even know that was in it. Well, they don't read the bills, ladies and gentlemen. They're told how to vote by their parties. They don't have to read the bill. They're taking marching orders from their political, you vote yes on this one, no on that one. So they don't need to know. And this guy was a sponsor of the bill. Didn't even, unless he was lying to me good. You know, I don't know. So that one's very interesting. Now, one that should hit all of you in the modern era. Guess what the White House has? An internet kill switch. In other words, the president, at his discretion, can kill the internet. To where you can't use your computers, you can't do anything. All they have to do is say a national emergency and kill the internet. I knew they'd have to do that, people. The internet was too wild. It was too out of government wants to control everything. They can't have something out there that they don't control. So they pass an internet kill switch to where they've empowered the president to kill the internet, if he so desires. Finally, part 4, 9/11. Well, the two interesting documents there, they're all interesting, but document 46, the Pentagon stand-down order on 9/11. Most of you, if you were in the military like me, the first thing you wanted to know was where were our jets?
Right.
Where was our air defense that day? When 4 individual airliners could be hijacked in a 2 or 3 hour period and we had nothing up there to stop them? Well, this book will show you there was a stand-down order that was done June 1st of 2001. Before that, it was left up to base commanders. They could make the call. If the FAA said we got a plane in trouble, they could scramble jets. But when this document came out, they weren't allowed to do that anymore. It required approval from the Department of Defense, the DOD. And remember, they couldn't find Rumsfeld for a couple of hours. So all it took was Don Rumsfeld not to answer the phone, and you had a stand down, which is what we had. I guess the apologists for the government or the people that think I'm crazy would say that's just circumstance. It just happened that way. Well, in the words of L. Fletcher Prouty, Colonel Prouty, he always said nothing just happens, everything is planned. Then you've got document 47, and this one's key. The free fall of Building 7.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the bad part is, I would say 50 to 60% of Americans today don't even know that a third building went down. They have no idea that this third building went down at 5:20 in the afternoon, went down in 7 seconds flat, and wasn't struck by any airplane.
Right.
Well, by when they, in their own document from NIST, That's the people that did the report. Took 8 years or whatever, or 7 to get this out. They used the term free fall. That the building, it's in their words, in the document, you'll see it went into a free fall. Well, I got news for you. I used to blow things up for a living. And there's also something called physics, the law of gravity, which you might not like it, but you can't deny it. Free fall can only happen when all resistance is removed, because a moving object that runs into one not moving is going to slow down. That's the law of physics. When they say it went into total free fall, means there was no slowdown, which means there's only one way to remove the resistance. The buildings were demoed, or that building was for sure, right in their own documents. How can they, and yet, where's our media? Where's the mainstream media? Well, they're busy attacking me, because I raised the question and asked them. And finally, the one that got to me as American soldier who used to put my country up here on the high, we've lost the high ground now, people. The United States of America no longer has any high ground. Documents 57, 58, and 59. The paper trail on the CIA's destruction of 92 torture videos, where we're torturing people now. Now the United States is a country that tortures. Hang your heads in shame like I do, that my country would torture someone, that we have no high ground anymore. And, it's very interesting. And let me say this, you know who I worry about right now? That young Bradley Manning, that private, that allegedly released the WikiLeaks doc. He's currently being tortured right now. He's in solitary confinement, and who knows if they're waterboarding him? Who knows what they're doing to him? And by the way, and I'll finish and state this, I'm outraged that the trial of these so-called Gitmo guys is going to be held by a military tribunal where none of us will hear one shred of evidence. We are a system of law here. We're supposed to be. It's been now nearly 10 years. Why haven't they indicted Osama bin Laden? That's the way you're supposed to do it. These were murders inside the United States. They should convene a grand jury of citizens like you and I, come forth with their evidence, and let us do an indictment. How do you hunt someone down without indicting them? All they did was tell us he did it. What proof? Anyone know of any proof they've offered? Anyone? What proof have they actually offered that he is the man? None. They just told us that. And we're supposed to, I guess, accept it. Well, I don't. I want some proof. And see, so you can see how disappointed I am in President Obama. When he was elected, I thought, oh my God, thanks, we're done with George Bush. And it's worse. We're now in 3 wars. Gitmo still hasn't closed. Well, you know what it tells me? He ain't in charge.
No.
That's what it says to me. Maybe he got in office and they sat him down and showed him the Zapruder film and said, you better look at this. This is what we do to presidents that want to do things that multinational corporations don't want done. So I hope that you will read this book in the seriousness it was written. Again, it was not fun to do. It's not fun to read about my country. It's astounding when you see what these documents are. It's astounding to me that we have the behavior that we have in this country now. And don't get me wrong, there are many good people in government. There are many honest, hardworking, patriotic people in government. But ladies and gentlemen, we need to come to the reality that yes, the United States can be evil also. And these documents, I think, prove it. Testing on soldiers where they don't even have a say-so in it. Inflicting civilians in Nicaragua with syphilis to find out if penicillin works. Fortunately, it did.